inside the paddock, live here from the Mobility Resort Motegi, the venue for round 17 of MotoGP in 2025. And we've just witnessed a pretty fascinating MotoGP qualifying session, which we wanted to say it yesterday. We're itching again to say it this morning because he was fastest in FP1. He's now just taken pole position. He's celebrated many throughout his MotoGP career, but that felt like a significant one. I'm sure there's not a pole position in his career that has had so much relief attached to it than that one right there for the two-time MotoGP world champion Pecco Bagnaia. Back on top, he is still cautious to say, I am back, because of course, as we always say, there are no points for a pole position. He knows he's going to have to deliver on Sprint Saturday later on this afternoon, and again in tomorrow's Grand Prix. Sprint Saturday in particular later on, setting off at 3 o'clock local time, will be a fascinating one, because that's where he's had his biggest concerns, his biggest issues this year, when they put that lower weight fuel tank for the sprint. His front feeling goes, he's unable to overtake, but of course he's given himself a great opportunity starting from pole position. He's going to come under huge threat, you would imagine, for the man on the outside of the front row, the man hoping to wrap up World Championship number 7 in terms of Premier Class crowns, Marc Marquez, later today. Of course, his record in the sprints is fantastic. This man's record in sprints is pretty good as well. Jorge Martin here, just doing some signatures for the fans. We'll wait for him to give the time and attention to the fans that gather here before grabbing a quick word. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of frustration. A Q1 exit for him. He felt that he'd made a step under qualifying trim following on from the Misano test, but wasn't able to back that up today. Yellow flags, I think, got in the way and hurt his chances. Jorge, frustration, yellow flags get in the way a little bit.
Well, the important is that the feeling is getting better and better, but still 2-3 tenths from my, the pace I want to be. But hopefully today we will make a big change for the race, because we have nothing to lose. So if it works, it can be a good choice for tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thank you.
There we go. Good to catch up with the man that could well lose his title as reigning defending MotoGP world champion this weekend. You feel that Marc Marquez has got a great chance, of course. The maths saying he needs to outscore brother Alex by 3 points, both today and tomorrow. But credit where it's due, Alex, having looked completely lost yesterday into Q1 for the very first time this season, really battled back, just about snuck through into Q2 in second spot behind Frankie Morbidelli. Heart has to go out for this man down there, Ayagura. He was halfway round the lap, a tenth and a half up on Morbidelli before yellow flags due to a crash for Alex Rins cancelled his final lap, and that left him 13th on the grid. It could have been so much more for the home hero. I'm sure there's understandable frustration for him. But yeah, Alex battling through, and in the end, was it second row of the grid, I think? I'm trying to remember. Yes, second row of the grid. 5th spot for Alex Marquez, which he definitely, I think, would have taken at the start of the day, knowing he had to fight through the jungle in Q1. Who else can we touch on? Joan Mir, have to touch on him. The first time in his Honda career that he is going to be, in fact, Alex Marquez got it wrong. It was Fabio Quartararo that took 5th. Alex Marquez, 3rd row of the grid in 8th. So that just, once again, emphasises what an opportunity Marc Marquez has got to wrap up that World Championship this weekend. But yeah, Joan Mir, 2nd on the grid, matching his best ever MotoGP qualifying performance from Portimao 2022, his first ever front row start in Honda colours, the factory squad's first front row since Marc Marquez here in 2023. Just magnificent job, and it was so close to pole position as well. He's got to be happy, but it's been coming. They looked good yesterday. All of the Hondas looked good yesterday, in particular both of the factory riders in Joan Mir and Luca Marini, and they backed it up today. Joan, front row of the grid, incredible job, and that is just rewards for the work that Honda have been doing, especially since the summer break. They've taken a huge step forward, and finally they're able to show that on track as well. Luca Marini, another good job from him. Front of the 3rd row of the grid, his pace looks excellent, so don't discount the Hondas. Yes, it's going to be a struggle for them to finish on the podium, but it's not out of the question. We could well see a Honda on the podium. In the sprint, you would imagine will be their best opportunity, because they do have some concerns over tyre life. But Mia, if he can get a good start, if he can go with, we imagine, the factory Ducatis of Marc and Pecco, he's got a great chance of hanging on to 3rd spot in the race. The one man that will probably get in his way is that of Pedro Acosta, who, have to give credit where it's due, really salvaged something from nothing in that session. Went out to start the session on his number 1 bike, something wrong with the throttle connection, and as a result he had to pull down pit lane. At first they swapped the tyres across to the number 2 bike, started work on the number 1 bike, then managed to swap the throttle across from the number 1 bike and put the tyres back into the number 1, taking a huge risk, thinking that that was going to be the answer. Luckily it was, and he was able to dig so deep to take 4th spot. Of course, there was huge opportunity, and I'm sure this man right here was hopeful of trying to get onto pole position, but in the end I'm sure he'll be happy with 4th. The talk with Paul Trevathan continues, and we won't jump in the way of those two debriefing after a frustrating session. You can see there from Acosta, not in the mood to stop and chat, because he knows there's work to be done to try and make sure that he can go with the Ducatis, because I'm sure he feels this is an opportunity this weekend. Was super strong last year, has just about managed to save the weekend when it was looking pretty bleak for a long time in that Q2 session to round out or to front the second row of the grid. But now work will commence to try and get ready for the sprint later on this afternoon. Right, let's see who we can have a chat with here. Look at these fans that, as always, come out in their numbers. Hello, how are we? Waiting for Marc Marquez. Have we got any? I always look to try and find some fascinating, some interesting, some different bits of MotoGP merchandise and memorabilia. It's Davide Tardozzi. Davide, is he running past me? Let's run after him. Hopefully he's going to stop. Is he? Yes, he is. Oh no, he's stopping with Nico Goyon. Let me see if I can dive in. You can see a look on his face as if to say, yeah, not bad, from Pecco Bagnaia. You can see the conversation between the two continuing, of course. Davide and Nico in previous years have worked with Enea Bastianini, so maybe they're just debriefing what's happened there. With Enea, who's had his struggles this weekend, both the Tech 2 KTMs have, both of them out in Q1. Maverick Vinales, it looked incredible at the start of the year, but since that crash in qualifying at the Saxon Ring, he says he's going to have surgery and he's not going to be 100% fit until the end of the year, and you can tell he's just unable to really maximise himself at this current moment, which is a great shame for Maverick after starting the year so well and being the leading light for KTM. Let's see if we can grab a word. Davide, just quickly, Pecco's had many pole positions. Has there been one with so much relief attached to it, though?
I think that Pecco is back. I think that he shows all weekend so far that he has the race pace and the speed in qualify. So as we said since the beginning of the year, when we will find the way, Pecco will be there, because he's a champion and we trust him. And in the last couple of races, I still use the same words, but nobody was trusting me. But now I think that finally we can smile.
So the big question, what have you done exactly? How have you found, from a couple of weeks ago when Pecco was outside of Q1, was struggling to finish in the points, to now suddenly being on pole position? What have you done to get the Pecco that we all know and love back?
We have the opportunity to work properly in Misano. The rules, it works perfectly. That means that Honda, Yamaha are growing, the other brand too. We have no chance to test with the factory riders. And finally, one day in Misano makes a huge difference. That's why Honda now is in second place. They grow. The rules from Dorna, it works perfectly, but in the end, we need one test day to finalize the engineer's idea to help Pecco, and we did it. Something that we can't try during the race weekend, and we did it in Misano. We have 8 hours to work in Misano. We use in the proper way, and finally the result is that Pecco is in pole position.
Is it new parts, old parts? What have you put on the bike? Because it has to have been something.
It's a mix of it.
Okay, well, it's great to see him back anyway. And of course, Marc, job done. It's looked like a tricky weekend, though. He's not looked 100% comfortable.
Yeah, Marc is struggling a bit this weekend, but struggling for him means that he's third. In the end, Marc still there, very competitive. I think that it will be competitive during this weekend too, on the sprint and tomorrow. But yeah, even for an 8-time world champion like him, the pressure to win another one is there, and he's human. Finally, he's a great champion, but you know, those things let you think and let you distract from what you are usually doing.
Well, great to see both guys on the front row. Have a good sprint.
Thank you.
There we go. Good to chat with Davide. Enjoy your lunch. Sorry to keep you from what I'm sure is going to be a delightful bowl of pasta as Anea Bastianini walks past. And the man himself, you just heard it there from Davide. He told us yesterday, he's told us again. Bagnaia, finally, with a big smile on his face. It's a mixture of new and old parts. That day of testing seems to have got the Bagnaia back that won him the MotoGP World Championship in 2022 and 2023. Christian Gabarini saying after the session that one means just a little bit more with this fan here. Absolutely delighted to get a signature. Oh, and he's dropped his wig as well. There we go. They're all smiling and waving, getting the signatures from the main man. It's pole position. Number 2 of the year, of course, got it in Brno, but he said in Parc Ferme he didn't know how he managed to do that one. He knows exactly how he did that one. Pecco, great job.
Thank you.
Got to be happy with it. Yeah, we've said all year that eventually we're going to see you back to your best and feeling confident again, but I'm sure even you were doubting it at times. So how nice is it to have that relief and to be out there doing what you do so well?
Honestly, I was saying that in case I will find back my feeling, I was able to fight for it. So I'm very, very happy about it. My team did an enormous job from the test till tonight also, that they finished very late to just try to give to me the same feeling with both bikes. So super happy. This pole is for them, but now I want to just focus for the sprint races and see if I can fight for it.
Absolutely. Points make prizes. Let's hope there's plenty of them this weekend.
Grazie.
Good luck. There we go. Great to chat with the man on pole position for the Japanese Grand Prix later on today. And this man right here, Gigi Dall'Igna, he dipped into his magic box and he once again found everything that was necessary to get the 63 back to the top in MotoGP. For now, anyway. Of course, as Pecco said, let's wait and see what the end of the weekend will result in as Marc Marquez pops out of the garage with those scuffs on the right-hand side of his levers after the crash at turn 5. We won't grab a word with him because, of course, there's a huge, huge pressure, a weight on his shoulders, as Davide Tardozzi just spoke of. He is human, Davide saying. The pressure of a world championship, just being so agonisingly close, will affect the mentality of even the very best. And this man is one of the very best, looking to make it 7 MotoGP crowns this weekend. Starting from the outside of the front row of the grid, gives himself a great opportunity to extend out that championship lead further over brother Alex. Of course, as we've mentioned 1,000 times now, 3 points, 3, the magic number for Marc, has to extend out his World Championship lead over Alex by that margin. Of course, if he's to outscore him today, then the maths get pretty simple going into tomorrow. If he's able to outscore Alex in the upcoming sprints, then he'll go into tomorrow knowing that he can follow his brother home. He won't need to win the race. He won't need to beat his brother if he can get the job done later on this afternoon. But of course, there will be so much pressure, so much weight on his shoulders to try and complete what will be the greatest comeback in sporting history. As Davide said, he's not looked comfortable. His rhythm, his pace on used tyres hasn't been exceptional. He doesn't look the invincible version of himself that we've seen so often in 2025. But you just know, given his form, given his speed, given his track record in the Tissot sprints this year, now more Tissot sprints than anybody in MotoGP history, he's a red-hot favourite later on today, despite his struggles, as we get a high five from the fans here. And that's going to be it. So many storylines going into the sprint later on today, on pole position for only the second time this year, hoping to try and officially cement the fact that Bagnaia is back, is the number 63. Front row of the grid, first front row start of the year, first front row start in Honda colours ever for Joan Mir. What a job from him with the Honda factory all here in force for their home Grand Prix, and of course all eyes on the 93. Can he tick off the first job on a big weekend victory today? Well, I'm sure allow him to sleep a little bit better before potentially wrapping up World Championship number 9 tomorrow. That's it for Inside the Paddock. What a fascinating qualifying that was. I'm sure if the sprints can get anywhere near it, we're in for a treat. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in a week's time from Mandalika. Enjoy this weekend.